What's going on? Gonna be doing a training video here on how to do a listing agreement. So believe the address is Eleanor. Let me open up a new window. This is my seller's net sheet from another property. Okay. Let me log in here to Trend and find my property so I can pull the public record info. So it's in Stratford. And I think it's 32 Eleanor. I don't know. Yep. Look at that. I'm good. All right. Let's see. Okay, so there we're going to pull the public record information right here. So we have it in front of us. All right, cool. So we're going to start a new loop, and it's going to be 32 Eleanor what? Eleanor Ave, Stratford 08084. Eleanor Ave, Stratford, New Jersey. There it is. Okay, let's add in our listing agreement. So the listing agreement's under this listing packet folder. There's a bunch of stuff that's already added in here, contracts, forms, different things. So we need a lead paint disclosure because the house was built before 1978. We need a listing agreement. So that's in here somewhere. We can just search listing submission checklist. Let's see what that is. Residential listing agreement, sale lease, and we also need lockbox. Actually, it's a vacant property, but we're just going to do the homeowner lockbox. I'm just going to bring all this stuff in. Doesn't matter. You can bring it all in. You can bring like 10 things in, and you can just delete them. If you can't actually delete anything in .loop, but you can archive them. Okay. Because it's like part of the real, as a realtor, they got to keep everything. If it was in this file, if it touched the file. All right, so we got everything we need. We got a lead paint disclosure. We have a. We're going to need a one more is a seller's disclosure. The disclosure. So the seller's disclosure is basically something that we hand over to the seller, and it tells everything about the property. Seller's disclosure. There it is. It's in the listing packet right here. Everything you need for listing is right in the BCCAR listing packet. What was that? Did you hear that? Mm-hmm. All right. So we're going to go to the residential listing agreement sale lease first. Actually, you know what? Because this stuff autofills, let's set our autofill stuff up real quick. That is what you have to do next, always in .loop. So every time you create a new file, you're going to put like people that are associated with this. So for this property, it's Janet Williams, and the email is going to be Karen Hoisington, because she is going to be signing. She's the power of attorney. Where is it? Oh, shoot. Alright, so it's power of attorney. So in this case, it is the seller. And I'm going to put Karen Hoisington. I'm going to leave it as Janet Williams. But I think legally, like, I want it as Janet Williams because on the text it's going to say Janet Williams, but when she signs, it's going to be, she's going to sign Karen Hoisington, power of attorney for Janet Williams. Mm-hmm. I know it's a pain, but that's how they have to sign it. And we'll have a copy of that power of attorney go down to our office with the file. Okay. All right, so we're also adding David Ralick onto the file because he is our, everything goes under Dave. and he's in this case the listing agent, and it's got all his information here, license number, which actually that's good. I wanted to add that into my I'm gonna write that down. I want to add that into my email, and you're gonna add it into your email.
Okay.
Sitting here with Natalie. Okay. And we're going to do a listing agreement. So let's add Dave to the file. And that's pretty much all we need for right now because we don't have a buyer yet. Okay, so go back to the listing agreement. Open that up. And we're going to autofill it. Normally it'll just pop up as autofill, but we canceled that out. So the seller's Janet Williams, the listing agent's David Ralick. The property address kind of auto-populated here. There's no MLS yet. So it's going to fill out a lot of this stuff already for us, which is why .loop is cool. All right, so we don't need that yet because it's not in the MLS. The agreement, we're going to date it today. The seller's address is she's actually see, the seller is Janet Williams, and the seller, she lives at Riverview Estates, but we're just going to put, because all the mail is going to the POA, so we're just going to put 257 Uxbridge, Cherry Hill. That's where for this case, the power of attorney lives, and we want everything that's going to be dealing with this file is going to Karen Hoisington. POA. All right, broker is Remax. Connection. Agency address. This stuff didn't auto-populate, it normally would. Hadnav. Haddonfield. Okay. So we agreed on a price of, let's just say, $100,000. We actually already have the buyer in this case, but that's all right. For the listing agreement and things like that, we're just going to do this for now, just because we're just doing a listing agreement for this video. So property address, the property price is $100,000, and if they were to lease it, we could do this, but they're not trying to lease it. And from this date until 1 year from now, always going to be 1 year from now in all cases. 17. Okay. We're only putting this one in the trend, but if we were going to put it into a couple different listing services, then we would put that right there.
Okay.
Now this is a listing agreement for trend because it's the Burlington County one. But if we were in let's say we had a listing in Atlantic County or something like that, we would have to go and get a different listing agreement.
Okay.
So we do authorize, does authorize. These are both always going to be yes. I'm just going to check yes on these. The commission is going to be 6% always. And if the premises are rented, 1 month, commission of 1 month. Oops. And if they decide to purchase, it's 6% commission, but we're not renting it out, so that stuff doesn't matter. Broker protection, so we're going to do 90 days in this case. So basically what this broker protection means is that if, let's say, with all my listings, I tell the people, listen, we got a mutual agreement to reject. So if at any time I get tired of you, I can fire you, and if any time you get tired of me, you can fire me. I'm not going to hold you to this stuff. I don't believe in doing business with, forcing people to do business with me. But what this is protecting me is saying, look, if anybody came in and through my marketing, through my advertising, and if they buy the properties, even after this agreement's over, then I still get the commission. I'm still protected. Okay, so this is always going to be checked right here. It's seller and this one, because it's dual. It's the seller's agent and disclose dual agent if the opportunity arises. So I'm the seller's agent, but if I bring the buyer, then I'm a disclosed dual agent. So which in a couple cases, actually, with this property, I am a dual agent because I already have a buyer. Alrighty, so the commission splits. It's going to be 3%, and we're going to do minus $99. Sometimes I've been putting like $199. I mean, people always complain about that. They do. The agents. They don't always, but you know.
Sometimes.
Yeah. It's a BS fee.
Right.
It's why do we have that fee? I don't know. I put it in there because paperwork is a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
The seller does authorize me to cooperate with buyers brokers. This is going to be no subagents, and we don't do subagents and transaction brokers in this area. The listing office we're gonna split the commission 3% minus $199. So 3% minus 99, and transaction brokers is 0. This is consumer information statement. So this is just saying that by signing the agreement, that the seller acknowledges that they received the consumer information statement. By law, everybody before you're dealing with a real estate transaction, you have to receive a consumer information statement, and it goes over real estate relationships in the state of New Jersey. Exclusions from the property. In this case, we're not excluding anything. There's a car there. We're going to take the car out, but these people in particular, like, if I get a listing, sometimes the people will say, oh, I want the refrigerator's excluded, and like there's certain things like washer dryer that have to be known because they're not. See, the law is if it's not attached in the ground or attached to the property, then it's personal property. It's not part of real estate. So so like a tree is attached to the ground. It's in the ground. That's real estate. You can't take a tree with you.
Right.
People do though. People are crazy. So legally, like if they took a tree, like you would get to closing and you'd be like, "Hey man, what happened to that freaking tree that was there?"
Right.
And then you'd have to like renegotiate. Other contractual provisions. In this case, there's none. It's not a bank-owned property. There's no third-party approval, and it's not a short sale. We are not putting a super on the house. We don't buy the supers. Some people do because they think they're cool. We're going to put a combo lockbox. Actually, we're not even putting a combo on this house, but you would definitely do that in all cases.
Okay.
In this case, the people that are buying it, they actually already have a key.
Oh.
So we're not putting a combo on this particular property, but we would if it was a normal property.
Okay.
Okay, so over here we got the information, seller sign here, Janet Williams, tenant's consent to a combination lockbox, it's right here. So it's pretty easy stuff, right? So if you had tenants,
right,
if there was people living at the property, they'd have to sign too because they're going to consent to have people walk through their house, not their property, but it's their house. And this is just a little notice for discrimination. Discrimination is a big no-no, obviously.
Yeah.
So if anybody is suspected of that, then you don't even have to get an attorney. You just file a complaint. They'll fine you. They'll fine you. Yep. All right, so let's go back here and see what else we got to do. So we're going to do a lead paint disclosure. It's pre-1978, so if the house was built before 1978, then you have to do one of these. So how do you find that out? So we're going to go into our here, look, you're built right here. So this is in the public records right here. Yeah, so this public record information, a lot of times we're gonna, when you're putting stuff in the MLS, you're gonna get a lot of information out of here. You're gonna see previous listings.
Right.
If it's not previously listed, it's a pain in the butt because I gotta literally, what's going on, Jake? So I literally gotta figure. I gotta find out. Okay, is there a fireplace? Is it oil heated? Like all these different things that if it's listed, then it's so easy to find.
Right.
So hopefully it's listed. You get all the information. All right, so the autofill pops up on every new form here. So I'm just gonna. There's nothing I really add to that ever. It just automatically does its thing. So this one here, for this particular property, they don't have to fill this out. The people are literally, they're buying it as is. They want this house so bad. They don't even want to do an inspection. And I'm going to recommend that they do an inspection just for their own information. But we fill this out. This is a seller. Oh, this is. I'm sorry. This is the lead paint. They do need this. I don't know what I'm talking about. All right. I'm thinking it was the seller's disclosure because see it says seller's disclosure right here.
Oh yeah.
So in all cases, I mean, people like I've already asked the sellers, is there any lead paint in the? Is there any lead in the paint? They don't know. So there's no knowledge.
Okay.
It's almost always going to be has no knowledge of lead paint.
Right.
They're going to know if there's paint. You know, we ask them. So the seller has no reports recording lead paint. So that's always going to be that. And that's pretty much it. This is for the buyer.
Okay.
So that's it. So we save that. So the signatures are already auto-populated. See Janet Williams, Janet Williams,
Yep.
Janet Williams, Janet Williams. Like all this stuff automatically is here. So that's it. So we're gonna save and share that. I should probably change that to I'll change it right now to Karen Hoisington, power of attorney for Janet Williams. Because what it's got to say her name, Janet Williams, but then it's got to say in the signature, like I said.
Right.
So anyway, so that's it. So that's really all we have to do. I mean, it's pretty easy. Seems like it's easy. Let's check out this other stuff. Lockbox authorization. What's this? It's pretty much, you know, pretty standard stuff. Let's make sure they sign it. Alright, so that's it. So this stuff's all pretty self-explanatory.
Okay.
It's really, some of it's really easy, but
Yeah.
making sure that stuff is correct on the contracts is super important.
Okay.
So I'm going to share this stuff later because I want to change that